Good morning, everyone. It's truly an amazing thing that, there we go. Sorry. Um, Truly an amazing thing that you can stay up half the night editing video and then forget to put the video in the machine so that it will not, that it will play. So we're going to get it in there and get in there and get it to you. We got a couple of really good videos we're going to have for you this morning. Some other stuff that's going on around the world of cars. It is Drive Time Radio. I'm New York Vinnie. If I look a little disheveled, and I have a cold on top of it, I have just come off of 2 weeks on the road. 2 weeks on a trip that entailed a 2,500-mile trip from here to San Diego, California, and back up the coast, staying in a number of Motel 6s. I don't know why my daughter likes to stay in Motel 6. And I keep trying to educate her that there are better places. But actually, when you really come down to it, if you're just looking for a bed, if you're just looking to basically be moving, completely moving the whole time that you're on the road, there are worse places than Motel 6 you could stay. And I've stayed in them. Especially when you're back east in some of those, it's funny, there's some of those mom and pop motels that are really special places. I used to stay in one when I would go up to Chautauqua, which is in upstate New York, south of Buffalo area. And when I would go up to Lake Chautauqua, I would stay at this motel, which was right by the side of the New York State Thruway, right at the exit. And it was about $59 a night. As clean as a whistle. They made sure the beds didn't have bed bugs in them. It was a husband, a wife, and their 3 kids that ran it, Indian people. And I stayed at this place several times, as opposed to staying into the fancy. I stayed at the Hotel Athenium once. It was very nice, very expensive, and I got the same sleep. As a matter of fact, I got a better sleep at the motel up there in by the Thruway than I did at the Athenium, and that was because I like noise at night. I like the humming of the cars. I like the rainfall, and the little red motel there had it, and you couldn't beat it. It really was a great time. So anyway, my daughter and I decided we have a couple of different events that we have to go to in California. I think 3 of them altogether. So instead of going to California, renting a car, boom, 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 get back on a plane, boom, boom, boom. You sit. Let's just ask if we can have a car. What we're gonna have for 2 weeks, and just make it a road trip. So we got it. And from the day we left here on what was it, Thursday, the August 27th or so, to the time we got back on Wednesday. Maybe that's the reason I had the kind of the still the I'm still my head is still going at many miles an hour. But it was a great ride. As I always tell you folks, sitting in the passenger seat, I'm trying to muster up a little energy here because I realize I'm low energy. Mustering up the energy to let your daughter drive is one thing. Mustering up the energy to feel safe while your daughter drives is a whole different thing. Now, I know I'm not the only one that this happens to, but aren't there many of you out there who feel, I don't know, you wear that center spot in your car cabin in front of the passenger seat because you're always constantly hitting the brake. I'm one of those fathers. I trust her. If I didn't trust her, I wouldn't let her drive a car. But you do have this thing inside you that, like, she just doesn't do it as good as I do it. And in fact, she probably does it better than I do it in many ways. She's a good driver. She's going to be a great driver if she pays attention. If she can find it in her heart and in her ears and in her hands to put the phone down, she's going to be a great driver. Because she knows what she does. She doesn't usually look at the phone when she's on the city street. She doesn't look at it all the time. But she picks it up enough to where it's distracting. So, so we made our long trip. We headed down south. We stopped a few places on the way down. We were really in a rush to get to San Diego. I couldn't tell you too much about getting down. First night we went from here to Sacramento, where my sister-in-law and her family live, and they graciously let us sleep at their house, made us breakfast, which is the best way on the road to go. If you got somebody's house to crash at, there ain't nothing better. It's family, it's love, it's home-cooked breakfast, and you get to spend time with some beautiful people. And when you're on the road, you do want to spend time with beautiful people. You either want to go to where you know they are, or you want to go to seek them out. So we get in the car, and we know by that night we have to be in San Diego. Well, I don't know, San Diego to San Francisco, San Diego to Sacramento to San Diego, I-5, easily the most boring road in the United States of America, but interesting if you know what to look for. And, we were lucky enough to stop at some places that I thought were really cool. I'm going to take a couple of pictures out of here for them. Because I really thought, I don't know, I just really thought that there were some things. I am here to report that the Anderson Pea Soup places are alive and well and open. We stopped by both of them On the way up, we took 101 to Buellton. And on the way down, we were on I-5, and we saw it there at that incredible spot in the middle of the desert. And we got it set up there. And so both of those places are open. I don't know if they're the original owners. I don't know what they are. But, you know, the good thing is if it really sucks, there's enough other places around for you to get something and get on your way. So if you're a Husky or a Cougar and you're planning your trip now down to the Holiday Bowl in San Diego, you might want to get in touch with me, actually, because maybe I'd be up for another trip by then, and you could hire me as your driver. You could all sit back and party, and I could be the driver. That goes especially for Husky fans. So so the road that we got to San Diego, we stayed several days in San Diego. Late summer, you know, that Labor Day, you know, there's such a difference, you know, in San Diego and Mission Beach, and we stayed in Carlsbad, which is a town I love. Carlsbad, California is, to me, one of the places where it all began. To be in that place for me as a kid who loved rock and roll from the first Beatle record he heard, and even before that, I predated the Beatles. From the first sounds that came out of my father's mechanics radio in the 1961-62. I was 5, I was 6. And I heard that music that was like no other music that my father was listening to. And listened to that and said, man, that is great. That's a sound. That is something that I will never lose a love for. And I knew it from things like Are the Stars Out Tonight? And Mickey's Monkey. I mean, you can't believe, like in 1962, when I was 7 years old, man. But I remember that. Dum de lum de la, 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 bump, 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 bump. That beat, Smokey singing the dum de lum de la. I mean, it was just beautiful. And it caught an 11-year-old kid. And it's probably why I never went anywhere in life except here to entertain you, because it had such a profound effect on me. And as soon as I could drive, as soon as I could get behind the wheel of a car, it got to me. And when I was a kid, I used to watch the Red Skelton show. And Red Skelton would always talk about California. I don't know that Red Skelton never set a foot in New York. If he did, he never talked about it. He always talked about California. My aunts and my mom, my grandfather, my grandmother, they watched Red Skelton religiously. And, man, it was great. Because I got this vision between Red Skelton's show and some of the shows that were on TV, some of the other shows like Gidget and things like that, and the music of Jan and Dean and the Beach Boys and those types of groups, the surf sound. I got this vision in my mind of what California was. And it was for me. I was sitting in my classroom in first grade in St. Joan of Arc in Jackson Heights. And they were trying to tell me about this and tell me about that and tell me about that. And by the grace of God, I could read. I could read. I was given the gift early on in my life of being able to open up a book and read. I could just open a book and I could read. And I could read words. I might not have known what they all meant always, but that would come. And I could read comic books of people who were living their lives in Southern California. And it was the most amazing thing. It really was the most amazing thing. And so going back there and hanging out on Carlsbad Beach, on Moonlight Beach, on a Labor Day weekend, a late summer afternoon, sitting on a stand on the corner of Carlsbad Avenue. And boy, I'll see if I can even pull up the picture of the place. I do want to show you some of these pictures, and I was a little behind in loading them in. But to sit there at this beach and to let's see, we seem to have technical difficulties today in getting stuff into the computer or what we're trying to do, but that's okay. I'm going to work on it and talk to you at the same time. I think there has to be maybe they'll go in this way. Okay. See if it's going to go in that way. Meanwhile, the trip to California. So we stayed down in Southern California. We went and celebrated my ex-wife's birthday down in San Diego. It was great to see her. Great to see so many people and her family. And so many people who mean so much to me. Great to see. I really take a special joy out of seeing how my nieces and nephews have grown. I have one nephew, my godson, and 4 nieces. 2 of my nieces I'm close with, and 2 of my nieces I'm not. But they're my nieces, They're part of my family. I always consider family. See, the Italians have a certain thing that they don't believe that a family breaks up through divorce necessarily, unless the people want to. That the family stays together, because in Italians, the family is the most important unit. I've been to family dinners where the ex-wife of an uncle comes with her new husband, and he is accepted as family. I remember the priest saying that you haven't gained a wife, you gained also a family. And Anyway, so it's great to go down and see them, um, and to get to spend some time with them, get to see how they're growing up, get to see the kind of young people they are. And God, I'm lucky because for the most part, they are young, beautiful, smart, extremely intelligent people. And I'm not going to say I had anything to do with it, except in the case of my godson, because he and I formed a close relationship after I was divorced. And we have kept in touch. We talk on the phone. I go down to his basketball games. I go to his baseball games. I went to his graduation. I've gone to his birthday parties. He's a good kid. And I really can say with at least no trepidation that I had at least a very, very, very small part in that. I remember taking him down to Alki, showed him how to hit a baseball, or taking him to Pittsburgh and showed him how to eat and then stick the food out of his mouth. Hey, you can't teach him everything, Anyway, okay, this is a car show. I'm not getting into that, but that was the trip. And then coming up for the trip, we stopped up at a car show, and it was a great car show. It was the Northern California Zonk show, the Z Owners Club of Northern California. And it was a great time had by everybody. Now, I'm gonna take you into the Zonk a little bit. I'll have to describe it for you as we go on. But I think that that I'm very proud of this show. It's the first time I went to it. It's a gathering of owners of Datsun and Nissan. 240Zs, 260Zs, 280Zs, 380Zs, 370Zs, 360Zs, I think, too, and 510s, and other assorted Nissans. There was a guy there with a Roadster. There was a guy there with a, I can't think of the name. Matthew, if you're listening and you know the name of that station wagon that we're going to show right at the top, let me know. Or if anybody does, please let me know. But here is the and I'll describe it to you as we go. Here's the Zonk show, which was at the Brisbane Arena in Northern California on this beautiful, hot but beautiful September 7th, which also happened to be my birthday. So from the Brisbane Marina, you see some of the beautiful things. This wagon was enthralling to me. I mean, I looked at this thing and I was like, wow. It's an import from Japan, and it is a wagon. It's a rare one. You don't see many of them in the United States. You don't see many of them in Japan. Here's the 370Zs, I believe. And look at the some of the things. Some people do some strange things to that car, but there was some very, very, very. I really liked this. It had that sunrise kind of look to it. This was painted in a flat black. I didn't quite get that one, but it was a sharp looking car. This is one of those holy grails. This is the 240Z Scarab. And what they do with these cars, they pull out the Nissan engine and they drop in a 327 Chevy engine. And there was a number of them built in Southern California in the 70s. and they are just unbelievable cars. This was the only roadster that was entered into the only roadster that was entered into the show. This is the 510 section. And you get to see, I don't know why they put the 510 people in the handicap spot. I would be upset if I were a 510 owner and they put me into the handicap spots. But you can see just the absolute simplicity of these vehicles that were produced in the early 70s. I think 70 was the first one. They came in a truck. They came in a wagon. They came in this 2-door, and they came in a 4-door. And the people that love these things dedicate hours into finding parts and looking for and changing engines, putting truck engines in, Nissan engines. And I owned one of these cars. Matter of fact, when I came up to Seattle, this is the car I drove up. Not this particular car, but a 72 510. And the biggest mistake I made was selling that car. That is my brother-in-law Matt's car. And I can tell you from looking at that car that is far and away the best 510 that you will see, I think, anywhere. I hope he's going to take it down to the big parade, big showdown at Queen Mary. He won Best of Show. He also won the Best in Class, and he also won the heart of all of us in his family. And it was a pleasant surprise for me because I really didn't have any idea that we were going to go there before we go there. And even when we go there, I'm saying to myself, I walk around and look at a couple of cars, and then I looked at his car the 2 days before, and I said to myself that particular car is such a thing of beauty. He has put so much work into that car that he should be acknowledged for. And all the people there that belong to that club put so much work into their cars. And, it's easy for us to think of, us older guys, to think of a hot rod as, oh, my God, got to be a 55 Chevy with a crate engine, got an LS1 stuffed in there. And no, a car is what you make it. A car is how you build it. A car is a personal expression of artistic freedom. It just happens to not sit on a wall in a museum, hopefully, but to be able to get in it and drive it. And that's what's so beautiful about cars. It's it's without a doubt just an ability to express yourself in your own way, whether you want to keep the car stock, much as Matthew has done, or you want to kind of wild it out a little bit, like the guy with the station wagon has done, or that Z that had the nose all opened up, or the Scarab, which looks pretty stock, but don't get in. If you run around with a little 4-banger, and you say, "Oh, I could kick the shit out of this guy in this beat up looking old 74." See, he'll leave you in the dust. But thank you so much to Zonk, to the wonderful people I met there this Sunday, and to Matt and my sister Mary Ann, who you saw in the picture also, for letting me come down and go to the car show and see this. It was an extreme pleasure. I loved it. I haven't been to a car show in a while, and I suggest that you get out to a car show in a while soon, because the cold weather's coming. A lot of people aren't going to want to bring their cars out, and I hope that a bunch of you from Northern California were listening and got a chance to see that zonk. I will have it up on the internet as a solo piece so you can take a look at it when you want. But congratulations. It was a nice show, a good show. We got to walk around. We got to look at cars. We got to talk to people. And I got to see Matt's car on display, not just sitting in the garage. So thank you. All right, what else is going on in the world of automotive? Well, we got the Yo Vinnie, what are you driving this week? I'll have that coming up for you in just a couple of minutes. This coming week, I will be headed down to the Ilani Casino, where I will be testing new models. The Northwestern Automotive Press Association, a organization of which I am a member of. They have a website at nwapa.org. But you know what? It's a crappy website. It really doesn't tell you anything about us. It is a pain and a thorn in the side of the people who run the organization. And nobody wants to say, hey, Vinnie, take over the website and go at it. Take the website. We'll give you some money to buy what you need to fix the website and make it a website that's equal to everybody else's website that has an organization of journalists that talk about cars. I pay to belong to this organization. I pay to go to these events. These aren't manufacturer events that they get paid to go to, that they get prizes and this and that and trips to England and this. I don't get on that list. And it honks me off that I don't, but I don't. I'm not good enough for the car companies to take me on the trips. I'm lucky I get cars, and there's one car company that won't give me cars, NISSAN, and I'll name them. You know, I turned 70 years old Sunday. And if I'm going to do anything in my last few remaining years on earth, I am going to call out the bad people and call up the good people. I am no longer bound by what I think is, oh, do I have to worry if they're not going to give me a car anymore? Or do I have to worry if they're not going to like me anymore? I'm 70 goddamn years old. And if you don't like me at 70, means you ain't going to like me at 75, and you sure as hell ain't going to like me at 80. Because I'll probably wind up being a painful, crotchety son of a bitch. But I got a load of life in me. And I got a love of cars in me. And I got a love of road trips in me. And I'm going to tell you, the next 5 years, we're going to take advantage of that. And you're going to see it on this show. And we're going to go through as many of these cars because I find I find the technology in these cars fascinating beyond the belief. So, anyway, sorry if I went a little left turn there. Didn't mean to. So anyway, I go ahead. Oh yeah. Yeah. Anyway, sorry about that. I was just trying to get a couple of other pictures up for you that for some reason my phone is now sending pictures, not movies, but pictures to in HEIC, which will not work with my. Well, let me see if I can get here. Anyway, nah, I can't get it. I don't know why. Let me see if I got to learn this computer. Sorry about that. I will look over here to get this. Just 1 second. Just one look is all it took. There we go. Okay, and there's one more I got to look for. Sorry, folks, that it's like this, but today is, for some reason, all right. All right, anyway. All right. Thank you. Thank you for your indulgence for continuing the second half of the show. So we will be down testing a number of cars at the Alani Casino Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Now, we call this our run to the sun. We used to take these cars out among roads, so we just still do. We just take them on limited half-hour runs, and we get to drive some pretty neat vehicles. I know that we'll be driving the Lucid again. I know that that's in town, and a number of other vehicles, which I'm always in favor of. You know, a lot of these are vehicles that are given to press fleets for one or two drivers in a certain city to drive. We generally don't get to drive the vehicles that you'll see at this. We get the really supercharged up ones. We can put requests in from them. Sometimes I'll get lucky and they'll leave the car here for a week or two. They've done that with me a couple of times, or let me have it down in Southern California. And I'm especially appreciative of this because I know right now that the car companies are struggling, that their sales aren't what they're supposed to be. They don't know which way they're going with the federal government. And it's kind of a crazy time. So my vehicle this week, my Yo Vinnie, what are you driving this week? Is one that I am extremely in love with. I think this is not just a car. This is a piece of art that it's a piece of art married up to a powerful computer. Now, I'm not going to say that I love or like the idea of all of this computer stuff in a car. I don't think the American brain can handle it. But they're not selling them for $29.95. You know, these cars are $75,000. So I'm having to think that somebody with a higher end portfolio is going to look at these because they are beautifully, beautifully. Did I say the word beautifully? Not beautifully. Constructed. This one here is something that I think you're going to like. So we got to remove page, and I'll show you this Audi S5 sedan. Now, this is just a quick shot at it. Let me take you into the interior. Look at the interior dashboard on this car. This is nothing but two computer screens. You have one for the passenger, one for the driver. The passenger gets their own computer screen and they can play with it and do whatever they want with a select certain number of controls. And I wanted to ask a question. Something came across my mind when I was looking at this. Again, I apologize for my arms in there and everything, but I took it early in the morning. I wanted you to see this. I'll give you better shots of the interior of the car and everything later. But what do you think about this? What do you think about, number one, the screen in this car that gives you just about all the information that you would need in a car? But number two, a screen that your wife, your girlfriend, your daughter, your companion, whoever, who is your main passenger, gets in that car, starts playing with that thing, and they don't talk to you anymore. So that beautiful long drive, and you know me, I love to take long drives, but that beautiful long drive where you get to know people, where you get to know things. You get to know things about the earth, about nature, about looking out the window and seeing things and experiencing the road, experiencing the means of getting from one place to another. I mean, I know kids, younger people, not even kids, younger people than me, that don't know that you pass two dicks when you come from my house to their house. And actually, if you go a certain way, you pass possibly three. The other day I said to somebody, well, let's go get a Dick's Burger. Where is one? And I looked at him and I said, you don't know? Well, no, I'm busy looking at my phone when I'm not paying attention. I asked him, do you know where 45th Street is? Well, yeah, I think I know. I cut through there to get to 99. It's amazing to me. Absolutely amazing. And I worry with these in cars that, and I think it's a useful tool. You can control your heat. You can control your phone. You can control your screen. You can control what radio station you listen to. You can put pictures up on the board and everything. But there's no button there that says talk to the guy or the woman who's driving the car. Turn around and talk to your kids. My family learned more about each other from taking Sunday drives. We would take a Sunday drive every Sunday, no matter what the hell you were doing. Until I was the age of 17 years old, you didn't make any plans for Sunday. Because Sunday, my father would close the gas station at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. You go down there on Sunday morning and pump some gas or fix some flats and do some stuff, and come home at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. And we would all pile into either his 61 Cadillac, his 63 Cadillac, his 64 Cadillac, his 67 Cadillac, various other cars and sundry cars that he had. And we would go somewhere on Sunday. We'd go up to Mahonsic State Park. We'd pack a picnic lunch. We'd go to the beer distributor, which could only open at 1 o'clock, and buy a case of soda with some ice and a couple of beers. He wasn't much of a beer drinker. I think my mom drank a couple of beers. And we'd head on upstate, not far upstate. Every once in a while, he'd get a little nuts and say, all right, let's go up and see Lake George. And that was usually an overnight trip. But we'd go up and we'd see Lake George or Lake Placid or the Ausable Chasm or, the covered bridges in Vermont. You'd go up and you'd see all that stuff. And you didn't look at it. You didn't have coloring books in the cars. You looked outside the window and you asked questions. Daddy, what's that? Mommy, what's that? And you got your questions answered. Maybe they weren't always right, but you got your questions answered instead of looking into something like this. And yeah, maybe I could Google the answer looking at that, but it's not my mother. It's not my father. It takes a personal connection. It's not the person next to you answering the questions. Where are we going? Oh, look it up on the map. It's not that opening up the map and seeing the wide variety of area that you're going and saying, oh, look over there in Watertown. It looks like a pretty cool exhibition. Oh, but look over there there's a place you can go pick apples, Wicklow Farms. You can go pick apples up there. Get some apple cider donuts and coffee. Oh, that's great. Go to these places. You find them. You don't find them if you just push it into that button. It gives you, this is how you get to there where you want to go. Listen, I'm not knocking technology. I'm all for technology. I think it has a place in all of these places. I think this is a beautiful car. And at 363 horsepower with the turbos, they've made so many technological improvements to this car that I could never tell you about them in an hour. My partner, Michael Knight, said yesterday he thought the back of it looked like a Datsun. I thought he didn't know what he was talking about. That's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful car. And the interior of the car makes it 10 times as beautiful. It is, it's the Vinnie, what are you driving this week? Vehicle. I'll be driving that all week and testing it out, taking it on the road down to the Alani Casino in Portland. Also I will be checking out the brand new In-N-Out Burger, which is Washington's first In-N-Out Burger in Washington. Believe it or not, the whole time I was in Southern California last week, and in California, I had one In-N-Out burger. I mean, maybe it doesn't have the appeal to me anymore. Maybe the drugs I'm on. Maybe I just can't. Maybe I just don't have the desire, the appetite anymore. But I had one In-N-Out burger and a chocolate shake, and that was it. That was my In-N-Out treat. I suspect the same thing will happen when I go down there this week. Maybe I'll get the fries. I don't know. But join me for that. We are going to try to do one broadcast live from the Northwest Automotive Professional Writers Association event. I don't know how that's going to work yet. I haven't kind of figured it out. I got to call our president today, Tom Volk. Who, by the way, you should check out his car reviews on YouTube. He has a channel on YouTube, Driven, it is called. And I'll put a plug for him in. We all work together. We're all buddies. Me, John, Vincent, Tom Volk, other people from the group that we have. We all try to get together. I am going to make one pledge before I leave here today, and leave you with the beautiful words that I end every show with. I've made it my point. Now, I have on this program over the past 5 years that I have not driven a Nissan to try to.
This is a reminder.
Try to make up with the person at Nissan who I feel has disrespected me immensely. Again, I feel has disrespected me immensely. I did absolutely nothing to this woman except call her up when I got here, said that my friend, who was her counterpart back east, suggested that I call her so that I could get Nissan cars. And you see where they have gone in the 5 years that they have not given me Nissan cars. So after the show today, and I'm going to write her a letter, and I am going to put out an olive branch to end this acrimonious, not feud. It's not a feud because we don't, I don't talk to her. When she's in a room, I don't even acknowledge her. And she doesn't acknowledge me. And she won't give me cars. And I really don't care if she gives me cars. As you see, I'm well stocked with cars. It's not going to make my life any better if I'm driving and reporting to you on Nissan cars. It may make their life better because one of you may go out and say, Vinnie liked that car. And contrary to popular belief, there are some Nissan cars that I like, that I think are good, solid buys. I think there are a couple of cars they make that are good cars. Not all of them. Some of them are real shit bangers. But I think there are some good Nissan cars. And so I'm going to give it a shot. It's one thing I committed to for my 70th birthday. I've written down a list of many things, well, not many, 10 things kind of, that I've committed to do for my 70th birthday, which happened last September, last week. A week, tomorrow will be a week, September 7th. And I decided that I wasn't going to let my personal life, where I tend to be able to forgive people, have learned to forgive people, have learned to meet people at a certain place, have learned that You don't have to be mad at somebody forever. You can be mad at somebody for a certain period of time and then go back and be their friends. I learned that. I learned that you can support people even though you may not agree with what they are doing. Such was the case with Mitch when Mitch got into the trouble. Now, Mitch has done a fine thing. He's gone on the internet with his show, and he has a great group of people working with him. And his show, from what I understand, I don't listen to it, but Mitch Levy got into some trouble and went from being a guy that most people would say he's done to being a guy that has a show, that has people listening to him, that has a good show. And I was never a fan of the guy, but I will never see somebody I know get kicked like that and not try to at least do something to help them. Whether they're, well, of course, it depends in the past of what they have done to me and what they have done. But Mitch never did anything to me that was, he didn't like me. And to be honest with you, I didn't like him. But we worked together. And he tried to help me on some occasions. I remember the time I was doing a trip up to some casino in Vancouver, a bus trip, and I don't know, we didn't have anybody on the bus. We had maybe 10 people for this bus. And Mitch came over to me and said, "Would you mind if I helped you?" And I didn't know Mitch that well. Yeah, knock yourself out. And he helped me fill up the bus to Vancouver. It was by promotion. And he helped. And I don't forget things like that. Things like that mean something to me. So, oh yeah, I just saw this. In the 1996 Sonics finals. In these days, I got to get a green screen. All right, listen, that's going to put it in the books. I think I've talked to you about everything automotive. Let me look real quick at the if you like those if you like the Nissans that you saw today, I would suggest that you go on the internet and check out the always evolving it's at alwaysevolving.com, the Japanese classic car show that takes place at the Queen Mary in Long Beach. Now, they have a Formula Drift weekend down there. It is on September 23rd. Nissan is going to be down there with an array of electric performance and vintage models to the 13th annual Japanese car show. Oh, no, this is 2017. I'm sorry. I take that back. I spoke too fast. But Nissan usually participates in the show. It's in Long Beach by the Queen Mary. If you are into Nissans, I think it's worth the trip down there. Whether you fly down, whether you trailer your car down, whether you bring your car, call first to make sure there are spaces available. Because this thing is, and I'm going to find out if my brother is going to take his car down there, because if he does, maybe I'll take a ride down. Maybe I'll fly down, actually. Long Beach, I could probably get to quickly from the airport up here. I have to see if Alaska Airlines will help me get there. All right, that's it. Be careful out there. Be nice to each other. It's been a crazy week, as you know. I'm not going to get into the politics of it, but if we disagree, we can't shoot each other about it. We got to talk to each other. If I don't like something you said, you don't like something I said, talk to me about it. Don't shoot me. Don't shoot somebody you love. Don't shoot somebody you hate. Don't hate anybody. We have to stop the violence in this country. We have to stop the violence in this horrible manner. So I'll see you next week if the Lord's will and the creek don't rise on Drive Time. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks again to the people at Zonk in Northern California, to my brother-in-law, Matt, my sister, Marianne, and the people at Audi, and everybody else that watches the show. I always appreciate it. Thank you very much. Please do me a favor, 2 things. Like and subscribe to the show on YouTube. I will put a link on social media on our Facebook page, my personal one, to the show, and to like and subscribe to it. I can really use your help. I'm trying to get to 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I can really use your help. And to also what else can I tell you? We'll be here next week if the Lord's will and the creek rise. And until then, remember the 3 big things that Sammy Davis used to always say: peace, love, and Manischewitz. And then somewhere Michael would say, what a wine. Have a good weekend, folks. Have a safe and enjoyable weekend. Bye-bye.